Hello. My name's Sandy Earl. If I haven't met you already, I think I know most of you, but I wanted to go through a few things about Examsoft and Examplify if you haven't used them before. Examsoft is the company and the big umbrella under which our testing software that we use in the College of Pharmacy for required large exams and assessments is the overriding system. So it's where it holds like all your grades, how to get in and out, how to download the latest software, etc., and your exam results. Examplify is software that will be installed right on your computer, and it's where you will be taking your exams. So it's a software where you take your exams. So you need to go to Examsoft in order to download Examplify. Exam ID and Exam Monitor are for distance exams only. Exam ID takes your picture and makes sure that you're the person we think you are taking the exam. And Exam Monitor actually uses your camera on your laptop to ensure as well as we can that students aren't accessing outside resources and are taking the exam in a secure environment. It uses AI technology in order to try to determine the likelihood of students not using things that we don't want them to. So how it works. Well, I am not a computer person, but I have worked with Examsoft for many years now. And in general, what Examsoft does is we, in the cloud, are build an exam for you. As you know, many of your exams are going to be team assembled. So many different faculty will submit questions, and then an exam will be created. That exam will then go up into the sky, and only the students in the class that are taking the exam will be able to access that exam. And then it will be available for download. So once it's up in the sky, you can download that exam onto your computer. And I recommend that you do that as soon as it's available, because you need the internet to bring it from the cloud down and be on your computer. Now it'll be on your computer until you can access it. You won't be able to access it until we give you the password. So if you're in the classroom, we'll give you the password in the classroom. If you are taking the exam from a distance, you will get an email at the appropriate time with the password in it so that you can access it. So you'll open up your exam, and that will stop you from having access to anything on your computer. You'll only be able to access the exam. Then once you're done, once you submit the exam, it'll close up on your computer. Once you just say that it's done, it'll close up on your computer, and then you won't be able to access it again. And as long as you have a good Wi-Fi connection, it'll upload into the sky, and you'll see that your exam has been successful in being uploaded. And then the faculty can access that information and grade your exam. And then once your exam is graded, they'll send you the results, and you'll pick those up in your Examsoft software. Now, you will get emails about all this stuff. So the reason that we chose this, one of the reasons, is because you don't need Wi-Fi while you take the exam. Sometimes it doesn't happen that often anymore. It used to happen every now and then that all the Wi-Fi would turn off. And that would be a disaster if it happened during an exam. So as long as you have your exam downloaded, you should be able to access and take your exam. But then you won't be able to upload it until you get to a place where there's good Wi-Fi. Now, sometimes we'll tell you, hey, we didn't get your exam. You might have to go to somewhere with better Wi-Fi to upload it. You will know if you've left the exam and are still working on the exam, because everything is recorded as far as the time and when you've done things and taken things. So we know if you've left the exam and still working on it. So, but Once you close the exam, you can't access it, but it can be uploaded. All right, so this is what you'll see in Examplify. Notice this is Examplify. This is my Examplify. And if you go into your Examplify and sign in, you will have a variety of exams possibly ready for download. So here's a preview of a mock quiz that I made that I can download if I press this button here. So I'll press that button to download the exam preview that's available in this list, okay? Or you can press this here, I believe. If you hit the home menu here, you're gonna see this, these choices that you can click on. Your preferences, the license agreement, send log file, setting, help, switch account, and log out. You may need to log out and reset things if you don't have your exam that you're expecting there. Sometimes you have to log out and log back in. Then notifications, it'll tell what's new. So like maybe you need to upload or download, I'm sorry, a new version of Examplify. Maybe you're out of date on your Examplify. So this will tell you whatever is going on new in the notification section. This is before you've signed into anything. This is your home page for Examplify. Now, once you've downloaded, so now that I've downloaded this preview, you're going to see something like this. It says non-secure. Your exams are all going to be secure. It tells you how long you have to take the exam. It shows that the Wi-Fi is on. This means that you can go back and forth in the exam. Sometimes you aren't able to back up in exams. Well, you can in this one. It shows that the spell check is on, copy and paste is on, calculators are on. So these are the settings. You can see this before you go into the exam. This is an exam notice that you will see before you get into the exam. You want to make sure you read this. There's two standard templates that you'll be seeing. One, when you are not allowed to use your whiteboard or calculator, and one where you are allowed to use your whiteboard and calculator. If you are off campus, you're going to need to use your camera on your computer to completely show your testing space at the beginning and at the end of the exam. If you're in a testing classroom, you don't need to do that. Also notice here that there's a slide. You need to slide this down to read the whole thing to make sure that you have all the information in that pre-assessment notice. Reading this is not going to be included in the time that you have to take the exam. So remember, exams are timed. The pre-assessment notices do not count toward your assessment time. If you get extra time through the accessibility office, that will automatically happen in Examsoft. So be sure to follow the instructions carefully. If you use Exam Monitor, which is the camera that's following you, you will not be reminded to scan the room and your whiteboard at the conclusion of the exam. So make sure you do it. You won't be reminded. If you have a non-calculations exam, you're not allowed to have a whiteboard or a calculator. If you're taking this exam using Exam Monitor, once you start your exam, you have to scan. I guess we've already said that. If it's a calculations exam, you will be allowed to use your whiteboard. You're going to need to show your whiteboard, both sides of it, and your calculator, both sides of it, to the instructor in the room or to the camera before you start your exam. All right, on your exam controls, you'll see here, it'll tell you if there's an exam attachment, an exam notice. So the exam notice is what we just read, that pre-assessment notice. Exam attachment tells you that there's something attached to the exam. Like, for example, in my class, there's an equation sheet attached to the exam that has all the equations on it. Make sure, if it's there, you probably are going to want it. So you may as well make sure you look for it there. Now, to start the exam, you are going to click in this box and press Start Exam. Again, here's the exam controls. You can submit the exam from the exam controls, but you can see that there's an exam attachment, and you've probably already read the exam notice. So this is what, once your exam, this is what it looks like across the top of your exam or assessment. So if you go to Toolkit, well, back here is where you have your exam controls. So this was exam controls. Now your toolkit, it will tell you, you can see you got your time remaining, your exam control, but here's your toolkit. You have tools, calculators, and notes. Under tools, it tells you the time remaining. You can add an alarm if you'd like to. All the exams have an alarm when there's only 5 minutes left, but you can add an alarm if you're like, oh, I want to make sure I go back and do whatever I need to do. You can also use this slide either larger or smaller if you need the font larger on your exam. Calculators. So there's 2 calculators available always, as long as the instructor has posted the exam correctly. You have your keyboard friendly and your classic. It's just a rearrangement of the keyboard. And then finally, the notes section. Here's where you can type in whatever you want to type in here. You can use this as you might have used your whiteboard before. There'll be one of these notes available for every question. It's up to you how you use it. Now, also as a reminder, or for those of you that are new, we do not answer questions about the questions on exams. The only thing that we'll answer during a classroom exam is if you're having trouble with Examsoft. We don't answer like, did we forget something, or did we misspell something, or did we whatever. We don't answer any of those questions. Don't bother asking. If you have a question about that, you can write it in the notes section on the question that you're concerned about. So maybe you said, well, I would have answered it this way had the question, had I had this piece of information that I thought I should have, you know, or whatever you think we need to know as the test writer to fairly evaluate a question, because sometimes we make mistakes, and it's helpful to me if you guys point those out. So if you want the faculty member that wrote the question to read your note, because it's a note to them, you have to click this. I think it's actually a slide, but you have to make sure that you request feedback. If you don't request feedback, we won't read your notes, because we figure you're just making notes to yourself. So if you want to have the notes go to the faculty member, you need to click request feedback. You can also flag a question. You can also use a highlighter to highlight different sections. Let's say you wanted to highlight largest to smallest, or the numbers by size, whatever you want to highlight, because we know students like to highlight things. You can then erase it with the eraser. You can also use, so let's say that you are going through this, you know this isn't the right answer and this isn't the right answer. So you can click these eyeballs and it'll take it, it'll cross it out or make it lighter or something, so that you know that you've ruled those 2 out. So now it's just between those 2 maybe. Okay, because we know, again, you use that sort of thing to take tests. Let's say you decided to close the exam and submit the exam, but you haven't answered all the questions. You will get a notice like this. So you want to make sure that you may want to return to the exam to answer those missing questions. Or maybe you're saying, I'm not even going to guess. I'm just closing and moving on. That's up to you, but you should get a reminder of this. So again, you got to tell Examsoft a couple times that you for sure want to close the exam. So you're going to, again, click here and submit the exam. Once you get this green screen that has a check on it that says your exam has been successfully uploaded, that means it's up in the sky and we can grade it. So if you're in the classroom, do not leave until we've seen that green screen. And then we know you're all set, you're on your way to go. For those of you that are taking things remotely, you need to see this to know the same thing. So rules of the road, we do not answer contact questions. If you have problems, put it in the question box and then make sure you click the request feedback. We do not give exam questions back. When your graded exam is returned, it will list only the question title. We've asked the faculty to make the title very descriptive of what skill or piece of knowledge that you need to answer that question. So just so you know, you will not get questions back. However, you should, of course, work with your faculty member to go through your exam. But you'll probably have to do that in a secure environment. For those of you taking things remotely, there will be an exam window. So I believe it's from 6 till midnight Eastern time that you have to take the exam. If you have a 90-minute exam, if you start at 11, you must upload it by midnight. So you will only have probably 59 minutes rather than 90 minutes. So make sure that you understand that even though you could keep taking the exam, but it will only upload until midnight. Or 11:59, some professors will put in there. So make sure that you have finished the exam and it's uploaded by midnight. It's got to be uploaded by midnight. So I would suggest that you think of that as 11:30. I need it to be uploaded by 11:30. So then you start your exam by 10 so that you have the full 90 minutes and you have a half hour for your internet to be slow, your Wi-Fi to be slow, all the things. Well, I guess the same thing, but you know what I mean. So, and you are responsible for keeping your Examplify up to date. You need to check this because they do put out new versions fairly frequently. All right, I hope you found that helpful. Thanks. Bye-bye.